Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be servicing the Stihl MS310 and the MS290. I'm only going to film one of them because it's going to be identical for servicing of both of them. So stick around and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so the parts kits I got for these, they've got oil filter, fuel filter, spark plug, air filter, fuel hose, and oil hose. So that'll be what we're changing out on it today for the most part. Fuel hose I'm probably not going to mess with, nor the oil hose. I'll just put them up with the rest of my Stihl stuff and I'll have them if I need them. So here we go. So the only tools you should need would be your scrunch, T27 screwdriver, gasket scraper. That's going to be mainly for cleaning up a bunch of the gunk, and some grease because we'll end up doing the little pilot bearing back behind the clutches on both of them just to make sure they're in good shape. So I've got some new caps coming. The oil cap is leaking on this 290, so I don't have the caps here, but I'll replace those. I've already got a video on how to replace. I replaced the gas cap on that 290 a while back. Got a video on it. It's going to be the same for the front, but probably going to start with the 310 and just get it done out of the way. Something else we'll be doing is go ahead and take the recoil cover off. You can see the 290, it's pretty dirty right here, and I'll get all this blowed out because if you get all this plugged up, this is where your air comes in for the engine to help cool it. So if you get this plugged up, it's going to end up getting really hot on you. So that'll be another odd thing. Not really odd, but that'll be one of the service items we do to both of these saws to make sure that stuff's clean. Okay, I got the 310 here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the side cover and the bar off. Also clean the bar while I'm doing everything else. Clean the groove out, grease the tip, and that thing should be good to go also. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is put a screwdriver in on this little C-clip, pop that off, pull the washer off, and then pull the clutch drum off. Alright guys, I just want to jump in here. If you guys are finding any of this kind of information helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks. You just want to watch this clip because it will go flying across the shop. Okay, here's the clip. Washer. Now's a good time to inspect your sprocket. I don't remember what the tolerance is on this. It's in the service manual. This one actually doesn't look awful. Pull this clutch drum off. I'll clean this surface out in here. Clean it out. I'll clean all this off. But I was wanting to get this apart to look at this, inspect this pilot bearing here. I'm going to put a little wheel bearing grease on it and put this back together. The grease I'm using is a lithium complex from Grease Co. So just going to take a thin layer around this and it'll be good to go. This item gets overlooked quite a bit on these saws, which the bearings themselves aren't that expensive, but if you're already in here doing it, you just will put a little grease on them, just make them last a little bit longer. Okay, I like using wheel bearing grease just because it's a little thicker. These things spin so fast, if you get anything real thin on there, it's going to just sling it out and then you're going to end up getting grease and stuff around your clutch. And putting this back together, you just got to look for that little notch in here somewhere. I'll have to get a flashlight right up here. There's a little notch that thing will fit back into. But first I'm going to go ahead and take a scraper and clean all this out. That's why it was kind of being a pain to pull off. It shouldn't be that hard to pull off. But let me get this clean, I'll get it put back together. So this stuff just scrapes right out of there. It's just some of that gunk. Okay, everything in there is nice and clean. That's a good time to fill. If you feel any rough surfaces inside this drum, probably a good time to replace your drum. But this is nice and smooth, so we're gonna get this lined up with that band right inside here and get it put back together. Okay, we can engage the brake. Not spinning. Okay, that's all like it should be, so get the sprocket put back on. Actually, it's not really required. I'll put a little grease around the sprocket as well, just so it all isn't dry. Washer put back on, and then the C-clip. Okay, all that's together. I'm gonna go ahead and get all this area cleaned off, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I sprayed some degreaser on there, took a little nylon brush and kind of cleaned everything up, and then blew everything off with an air nozzle. So this side's for the most part done. The only other thing that would benefit somebody would be to go ahead and inspect your little plastic roller. It just pops out of there with a screwdriver. Your little, so that's back in. That looks good. The only other thing would be get a flashlight, look up into your muffler where the spark arrestor is, and look at that screen. If that screen looks like it's plugged up, to fix that, you need to pull these 3 nuts off, pull that screen out, and then take like a map torch or something along those lines, a little propane torch, and burn it, and that'll burn all the carbon off. If you idle your saw quite a bit, and this goes for pretty much any 2-stroke, if you idle it quite a bit, your spark arrestor is going to get plugged up with gunky oil. So if that happens, just take it out and heat it up really hot, and it'll burn all that stuff off. So all this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn the saw around, and I'm going to end up pulling the T27 headed screw out from here, down here, and down here, and I'm going to pull this recoil start off just so we can make sure all this stuff's good and clean out of there. So that's what we've got going on next. So here's the recoil starter. I'm gonna degrease all of this and blow it out with air nozzle again, like I did the other side. Get all this clean, and then all up in here, I'm gonna scrape all this out and degrease it. Make sure all these fins are cool or cleaned off. So let's go what I'm gonna work on next. So I do use just a putty knife scraper to get most of the stuff off of here. But some of the smaller areas, just get you a flat, small screwdriver. You can get up in there, in those tighter areas. So I'm gonna get this clean, and get this clean, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, got the recoil starter all cleaned up, all the fins are clean. Got this side all cleaned up, decent. It's not perfect, but now that's done. I'll get this cover put back on, and then we'll work on the filters. So we got the Recoil starter clean, this side all cleaned, bearing lubed up. Now we'll get this back cover off and get the spark plug changed and air filter. It's a good idea to close your choke so you don't get nothing falling back in there. And a lot of times these air filters can get blown out and reused. We haven't changed air filters on these in a while, so I just figured I'd put new ones on. These are pretty dirty. Okay, the spark plug, I did gap it, or double check the gap to be at 20 thousandths, and then I put a little bit of anti-seize around the threads. That's a good practice on pretty much any spark plug to put anti-seize on it. And these things ain't got to be crazy tight either. I've seen a lot of people torque those things down and you're just tearing stuff up at that point. Okay, so that's in. Next we got the new air filter put in. Okay. I think the last thing we're going to change is going to be the fuel filter. So what we have left out of this kit is fuel line, oil line, which I don't have any issues with those, so I don't see the need of replacing those just yet. And then the two filters. So we'll get the fuel filter changed. These extra parts I will put up with the rest of my steel parts, and I'll have them if we need them. So on the fuel filter, okay, on the fuel filter, I'm going to use two different pairs of, I think they're called forceps, but I'm going to reach down there and try to get a hold of that filter and pop it up out of here. It's a little bit of a pain, but it comes out of there. Okay, now that wouldn't be near as hard if I wasn't so cheap and would dump the gas out. I could see what I was doing a little bit better. This filter really doesn't look that bad, but I'll go ahead and change it. Nope, never mind. The wrong size fuel filter. It's a little bit smaller. Okay, well, good thing this thing wasn't dirty. Actually, I'm gonna take this off and I'll clean it up with some carb cleaner. Good way to keep from drop in your fuel hose, get a little pair of these, and just clamp it on there. Okay, let me get this cleaned out, spray through it, and I'll be right back. Okay, blew through the fuel filter, the little gas, mixed gas. It wasn't that dirty anyways. Okay, now just poke that back in there. Make sure it's laying down on the bottom like it should be. As far as the bar goes, I've got a little brush. I'm gonna run right down this groove just to clean any of this gunk out of it. And then you got oil holes back here at the back on each side. I'm gonna take my blow nozzle, make sure those are cleared out, and just kind of give it a wipe down. And the bar will be good. You're gonna wanna make sure you got a hole on each side, here and here. You want to make sure that hole's clean, so that's where your oil comes in, your bar oil. So if you flip it around whenever you change chains, like you should, if that thing's plugged up, you're going to smoke a chain pretty quick. But I'm just using a pick, kind of come down through. You can see all this gunk I'm pulling out of there, out of that groove. They sell tools to clean all this out, but I don't have one. So, a lot of gunk, a lot of stuff in there. Just clean it out, and then I'll take an air nozzle to it. A lot of gunk. So, anyways, let me get this all blowed out, and I'll be right back. Okay, the bar's all clean. Got a sharp chain on it. Get this thing put back together. Cover's all cleaned out. Get it put on. All right, well, the 310 is serviced, so I'm gonna go ahead off camera and get the 290 done. But if you found any information helpful, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks.